When I heard that Tim Cable had passed away this past weekend from COVID, the first thing I thought of was a video I shot of him being hilarious some 25 years ago. The tape got lost in my junk drawer sometime during the last century, and ever since I stumbled across it 3 years ago, I've been meaning to send him a copy. I think Tim would have loved it. All I can do now is share it with those that loved him, his family, and all his friends in Upper East Tennessee, where Tim was something of a broadcasting legend. My connection with Tim was WBEJ, an AM radio station in Elizabethton, Tennessee, that has birthed a number of music and broadcasting careers since it first went on the air 75 years ago. We both worked there as DJs and as sports reporters and as play-by-play announcers and other things. We also both worked with Ronnie Brookshire at WBEJ. In fact, I think it was Ronnie that got Tim behind the microphone in the first place. Eventually, I left WBEJ for the lights of television. Ronnie left for the sounds of Nashville and became a Grammy-winning mixer of music. And Tim stayed in God's country and became one of the most beloved broadcasters in the Tri-Cities of Johnson City, Bristol, and Kingsport. By the way, at WBEJ, we called it the Quad Cities, and always included Elizabethton in that geo-grouping. I reached out to Ronnie Brookshire today and asked if he felt like talking about Tim for a few minutes, and about the things Tim liked talking about. Let the stories begin. I don't know if this contributes anything to the conversation or not, but sometimes on days like this, you just feel like you have to do something, and something of a podcast is something. So if that's just about our grief, then so be it. But Kingsport paper this morning said that Tri-Cities lost a radio legend in Tim Cable's passing. And I know you guys go back far more than just the mythology and the legend and all that kind of stuff. You were a Cyclone and he was a Bulldog, is that right?
That's exactly right. And how we met. Well, we met in our teenage years playing baseball together in Junior Babe Ruth. The name of the team was Tri-State Container. And his dad was our coach. And his brother was our assistant coach. And so that's how I met Tim, and we just sort of hit it off from there. And then fast forward from there to when I started working at WBEJ, Tim would come up every now and then and hang out. And one day he goes, you know what, I think I'd really like to try to do this. And there was evidently an opening, and he said, would you talk to Cleo for me? And I said, sure. So and Tim always had a mind like a steel trap. The dude, the most obscure Cincinnati Reds game from 40 years ago, he could tell you every stat you wanted to know, just by memory. It was ridiculous. And I thought that if he did this, he would wind up just going into sports. And I could actually see him calling like University of Tennessee football games down in the future, And of course, he worked at WBEJ for a while and then wound up at WJHL. And did TV for quite some time, and that's when his popularity really took off. And then he moved back into radio later and started calling games for Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett. And also, I thought at one time he did some Science Hill games as well. But the last time I saw him was a couple of years ago, right before all this COVID madness started. I went to a Elizabethton game when they were playing Daniel Boone. He was in the press box at Elizabethton Stadium, and I was walking up towards the press box, not knowing he was there. And we saw each other, and while he was on the air, he pointed at me, and he said something about Ronnie Brookshire's here, and all of a sudden my sister's phone started blowing up with text messages of people I hadn't seen in a long time. So it was pretty funny, but he was a great guy, just a salt-of-the-earth guy, very calm-natured, brilliant mind, good guy.
You knew Tim a whole lot better than I did. We just passed the night a couple of times. But as I watched his career, more than a couple of times I'm going, that's what I could have been if I'd stayed at WBEJ. Part of the culture of BEJ was we were constantly being reminded of people who had been there and gone on to greater things. I mean, it was in our minds that was very possible. Of course, going even back to Mac Morris, he was somebody before he got there, and was a hard act to follow. 25 years ago, now my math, 1996, whatever that is, I guess that's 25 years ago. You and I were both in Elizabethton for the 50th anniversary of WBEJ. And I've got a little clip here that I want to play for you. And you cajoled Tim into doing this. We can hear you pressing the point in the background a little bit. The audio is not great, but I think today of all days, it's worthy of being played. And for those who remember back in the day, Jim Austin was our general manager, and he paid attention to our shows, except Bill Mountjoy's show. He never listened to Bill Mountjoy's show because it was rock and roll. So Mountjoy got to do whatever he wanted. Curly White would go out of his way to make him crazy, so he didn't listen to Curly's show all that much.
Yeah.
But there was this one show late in the day, after the news, Star Time. And all of us who have done Star Time have had this phone call that Tim Cable reenacts for us here 25 years ago. Let's see if we can make this happen.
You and I need to get on talk about training and everything.
I need your Jim Austin.
Yeah, you can do it. You got to put his camera down.
Where's my phone?
Whoa.
This phone. This is the hotline phone. I'm working the board. See, I'm doing beautiful music at Star Time.
Star Time, that's right.
And I put on Dan Fogelberg along the road, which you know how neat that is. I put on along the road the hotline, and I know who it is. Pick that hotline. Tim. Yeah. What happened to your show? You had it going pretty good there till you put on that Fogel. What was that Fogelberg you put on there? I said, yeah, that's a pretty song along the road, Pretty easy listening. Well, let's see if we can't stick with Montavani or Burt Camford or something. Okay.
Man, every time somebody played El Paso, Jim was calling and said, who's gone to the bathroom?
Mine was my home's in Alabama.
I used MacArthur's Park was mine.
Yeah. That is awesome. I'm so glad you have that.
That is the first time that video has ever been seen outside of my computer, Ronnie.
Wow.
It sat around here on 8mm tapes for years until I got a legacy box deal on Groupon or something like that and converted all my videotapes to MP4s or whatever they are. But it was just perfect. What happened to your show, Tim? That was just nailed it.
James P. Austin would come up at least once every time we got together. And because we all got that call, and it always went the same way.
Yep. What happened to your show?
And you did not play the 12 Days of Christmas no matter what.
Oh, I've got that clip on that. I'm going to have to add that clip in post-production.
Yeah.
So, Jim had a major dislike for the song The 12 Days of Christmas.
How about an erotic hostility?
Yeah, he didn't like that song much at all.
What was his deal?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, everyone who's ever worked there's seen the hotline ring up there at least a time or two on such occasion. Usually, when it really ticked him off, if you played it right in the middle of the summertime, he really didn't care for that. But every once in a while, we'd play 12 Days of Christmas, and the hotline would immediately light up there.
And I also want to mention that right at the end of that clip, we saw Cleo Reed, who was near and dear to all of us, and it just amazes me when we worked there back in the 70s. She was so old.
Yeah.
And now she's, that was 20 years younger than I am now, I'm sure, because we just lost her in the last year, but she was WBEJ.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Talk about somebody who gave their life to one business or one organization. That was her. It was amazing.
And was a big reason why, this gets thrown around an awful lot, but why that was a family.
Yes.
Why the place was family, however you want to look at that.
She was mom.
She was mom. Wouldn't let us play Afternoon Delight because it was a little too racy. We could go down. Couldn't play Jerry Reed's Eastbound and Down because it had the D word in it.
That's right.
Or maybe it was the H word. I don't remember, but it was that was kept us grounded. Well,
yeah.
we could reminisce all day long on this kind of stuff, Ronnie. But it's a day to remember Tim and what he was in the community. I would like to think is just the heart and soul of what WBEJ always wanted to be, and has continued to be far better than most local radio stations over the years. And of course, that's where you and I first met. And,
yes.
Still seems like home. Still, I get a notice on my phone that WBEJ is live. One is for Swap and Chop.
Yeah.
The other isn't every day, but anytime they're doing the ball game, I get this little notice that says WBEJ is live. So after all these years and all these miles, it's still really important to me. And one of the reasons is you're important to me and the other people that we have known over the years. And at the top of the list today is Tim Cable.
Yeah, well, I agree. And I had no idea that day that he came in and said, do you think I could do this, that it would turn out the way it did. Just a class act all the way around. You cannot find anyone that has one bad thing to say about that guy. And he came down to Nashville once and did a little story when he worked at JHL, a little story on me working in recording studios and all that. He always had his baseball glove with him, and every time we got together, we'd go out and pass ball for a while, no matter where we were. And
don't suppose you ever made it to the Field of Dreams?
No, but boy, that would have been awesome. But it was just we just sit there and pass and talk, and I miss that. And I don't know if you get to pass ball in heaven or not, but that's going to be one of the things I'll look forward to, when I get there.
I think with that, we'll wrap it up here, Ronnie. Thank you so much for helping me do this.
Absolutely, anytime. And, take care, my friend.
Maybe you and I need to head up to Dyersville with a glove and a ball.
Absolutely.
Just for the kicks of it.
That would be fun.
There's a lot of bad news in the world, so he wanted to bring good. He just wanted people to see, life is hard enough. Let's not take it so seriously. Let's enjoy life. Let's enjoy the people around us, and let's love one another.